Hello and welcome! Today we are going to take a look at the beautiful smile of Solution Epsilon. First and foremost, naming a predatory slime Solution is quite clever. Turning her into a master assassin on top of that is downright ingenious, because now Solution Epsilon sounds like a code name. But making her an evil but very beautiful battlemaid who wields her body quite literally as a weapon on top of all of this is downright awesome, especially in a certain scene. But before we are going to talk about all of this, let's take a look at Solution's role in the Pleiades battle formation. So imagine you and some of your guildmates made it somehow to the 9th level of Nazarick. After being subject to each and every enemy, ambush and trap possible, and after surviving Rubedo and the rest of the 8th floor, you will be likely very careful. So if you are facing 5 suspiciously weak Pleiades in front of you, only to hear via voice chat that Kevin, one of your healers, was stabbed in the back by Solution Epsilon and is now either low on health or dead already, it is very likely that you won't try to rush the throne room, despite your overwhelming numbers. You will believe that everything here might be a trap or an enemy, and you're partially right. While the throne room and the living quarters haven't much in the way of surprises, there's still a few of them. One would be the lion-faced golem in the bathhouse. And another would be the very illumination, because the light inside the Great Tomb is provided by mimics. And all of this consideration, this carefulness, will likely slow you down quite a lot. It's like Dark Souls. Your mind will suspect certain death behind every corner. Thusly, with just one successful critical strike, Solution will help to delay any invading force, so that the 41 supreme beings may gather, in order to fight one last epic battle. So if applied correctly on certain problems, Solution Epsilon is quite effective. So let me explain why. First and foremost, she's a heteromorph, a predatory slime. Her species specializes in devouring living creatures. And since slimes are usually not the fastest moving things around, but kinda sticky, they are exceptionally great ambush predators, able to lurk and hide in pretty much any environment. Once again, think of Dark Souls. If potential prey wanders close enough, the slime will jump out and devour it, while also restricting its victim's movement via a variety of internal tentacles. Additionally, Solution, being an extremely powerful predatory slime by New World standards, is able to freely change the pH value of any body part, without affecting the rest of it. So even seemingly unarmed, she can turn her hands and legs into caustic weapons in the blink of an eye. Additionally, since the majority of Solution's levels are spent to develop her racial abilities, we can assume that she can produce both a strong acid and a strong alkaline solution, and therefore she is able to eat through pretty much any armor. In addition to this, the Battlemaid may transport various items inside her body, ranging from potions to food and scrolls, without harming them, even if she turns up the acidity of other body parts. And I'm using the word body part really freely here, since the inside of Solution's body is hollow, while the beautiful exterior is a great disguise. And last but not least, due to her body, Solution is practically immune to physical attacks. After all, punching a slime's body is like punching water. It might temporarily change shape, but the kinetic energy will be harmlessly absorbed by it. This body and her natural behavior pattern is an excellent base for a few spy and assassin levels on top of it, since they too lurk in the shadows and rely on one, oftentimes decisive blow in order to abduct or kill their victims. And in addition to change the shape of her body, her job classes allow her quite literally to walk through pretty much any wall. And therefore she's also great at infiltration. And to increase her versatility as a predator even more, Solution is able to produce poison, sense traps, and she's able to use scrolls without having any levels as a caster. This is a huge advantage. While assassins usually are able to kill with just one critical hit, this strategy won't work against the undead, despite Clementine not only hitting the back of Einsulgaun's skull on 2 separate occasions, she was unable to inflict any critical damage, since undead don't have any vital organs where you could land a critical hit. And yes, I do realize that due to Ainz's immunity barrier, Clementine would still be unable to inflict any damage whatsoever, but it still serves as a nice illustration. So if Solution would encounter a powerful undead, she would usually have some problems in dealing with it. But since she is able to use most scrolls, she could simply use a strong healing spell to harm, repel, or kill the undead target. So that means that given the right equipment, she can be one of the Pleiades with the highest damage output. But all of those amazing abilities and tools would be of little use if Solution was simple-minded or as impulsive as Shaltir, which she's not. Usually calm and collected, she possesses a rather great intellect and is able to adapt to rather strange situations. Let me give you an example. While traveling with Sebas in order to gather intel and capture test subjects, she did a really great job at acting like a spoiled noble brat, despite her tremendous respect for Sebas. But with all of that said, she is still an assassin, and therefore she not only notices his strange protective behavior concerning Tsuare, she also was going behind Sebas' back and reported her superior to Ainzul Gaon. This neatly illustrates that Solution is an assassin true and true. She puts her mission above everything else. And this act of going behind Sebas' back is quite a huge deal, because like all other Pleiades, Solution admires Sebas. He's like a role model for her. And on their joint mission, Sebas was her direct superior, so going behind his back in order to inform Ainz about the possibility of his betrayal is ruthless, and was most certainly not an easy choice. But nonetheless, it was still the right decision, especially when concerning the great scheme of things. Shaltir was ambushed and mind-controlled, and now Sebas, who traveled with her, orders Solution to waste valuable assets on a half-deaf human, so it is only natural for Solution to think that something is off. This course of action also illustrates her independence and her initiative, skills every assassin needs. While in general, soldiers should show strict adherence to every order any superior may issue, an assassin should have the agency necessary to cut corners, change the plan, or even abandon it in favor of a better one if the new course of action benefits the overreaching goal. In Solution's case, this was gathering intel. So any potential intel leaks through treason or the involvement of third parties are quite dangerous for the entirety of Nazarick. And speaking of dangerous, Solution is one of the more unsafe Pleiades. After all, she's combining negative 400 karma with high intelligence and a great variety of inflicting prolonged harm to any living creature. And she enjoys it on every level possible. For example, this lowlife here usually raped women after they already died from mistreatment suffered at the hand of the rest of his group. So Solution not only picks up on his intent, she also turns it completely against him. First of all, she was exposing her breasts and invited him to touch them, only to use the tendrils inside her body to trap his arm, before she turned up the acidity of her upper chest, and after he screamed in pain, Solution was engulfing him completely, devouring him over a day or two. Think of it that way. He wanted to be inside her, and now his wish was granted. And I'm sure that Solution is aware of the irony present. As mentioned, she's cruel, and she has the mind to back it up. She's a competent, independent assassin that really embodies part of the horror that dwells within Nazarick. And while being extremely loyal, calm and logical, she's nonetheless a threat to anything around her that is not explicitly protected by Nazarick. And I can't wait to see the potential confrontation between Solution Epsilon and the twin assassins Tina and Tia, and of course Ianji, the assassin guild hiding somewhere between the Empire and the City-State Alliance. And with all of that said, a little addendum. My first video about Platinum Dragonlord blew up quite a bit, but it had some mistakes in it. I will therefore put a link to the correct version in the description. So anyway, have a nice day, hope to see you all again, thank you for subscribing to me, over and out.